G'day guys, God's land down under here. I'm just coming on briefly, sort of a follow-up from my video yesterday, which was unusual in so much as the response that I got. I certainly wasn't attacking anyone, but for some reason some people perceived me as being hateful, spiteful, prideful, mean from that last video. When essentially I wasn't arguing with anybody, I was posing a question: how do we deal with this white elephant in the room? But anyway, in response to that, I got some emails today, and I must admit the first one that I looked at, when I heard mention of Carol Viney, I kind of switched off a little bit because regardless of whether you like Carol or not, I've been on her channel and heard her say some very, very controversial things about the teaching of Paul and whether his teaching should even be included in the Bible. So I switched off from her channel fairly quickly. So when I saw Carol's name, I just glossed over this email, and that was a silly thing to do, really, because this is a great email and I want to share it with everybody. Hi there, I am user JP770 on your YouTube, who commented on your latest video. I saw the below comment, screenshot added below this email body if you want to jump down and read it first, on Carol V's, or I'm not sure how to pronounce this name, most recent video about the Feast of Wine Part 1, and it pinged in my spirit that you might want to see it. I've read it over and over and thought about it a lot, especially the part about the Jews, Israel, fleeing into the wilderness midway through the tribulation and how that causes them to cease to be a nation. Now, this is a very interesting way of looking at those verses and interpreting them. So this is part of why I'm presenting this, i.e., end of the fig tree generation. I don't know if we've ever considered it that way, or if the idea is even supported biblically. I need to look into it more, but the math at the very bottom of the comment is what stopped me too. It's not just 1948 plus 80 equals 2028 minus 3.5 equals 2024. It's 1948 plus 80 equals 2028 minus 3.5 equals 2024.5. I think that 0.5 is important because when is a half a year over? The end of June, the very time we're looking at now. July starts the second half of the year. Just thought it was interesting and that you might want to see it. I've asked several other YouTubers to explain the fig tree generation in the context of the Feast of New Wine, and I haven't seen anyone reply to me yet. It's pretty weird, like you've mentioned. How can we forget the original modern-day fulfillment of prophecy that is kind of the tipping point for all this last day stuff? Hope that helps in some way. Have a good one, JP. Now, here is the comment that was posted under the body of the email. Psalms 90:10, your years shall be 70 and in strength 80. The verse goes on to say that they, Israel, shall live out the best of those times in sorrow and trouble, which Israel is undoubtedly done, and then they fly away. This seems odd, since Jews don't believe in the rapture and have always believed they come from dust and they shall return to dust. So why fly away? Revelation 12. Israel, the woman, had to flee into the desert. She was taken away on the two wings of a great eagle. This occurs at the midpoint of the tribulation of Daniel's 70th week, the time of Jacob's trouble. Psalms 90 appears to be connected to Revelation 12, where Israel is carried on the wings of a great eagle when she is 80. Israel was born again as a nation in 1948. When Israel flees after the Antichrist enters the temple and sets himself up as God, Israel will once again cease to become a nation, to be a nation. 1948 plus 80 equals 2028 minus 3.5 equals 2024. Or as Jessica suggests, 2024.5. So initially I didn't understand this email very well. So I replied, but without really looking it over, you know. Typical bloke thing to do. Okay, I guess we miscommunicated somewhere. The info in the screenshot I am sharing was from a different person commenting on Carol's video, not from her. The full 7-year tribulation still fits into the numbers explained below, along with our pre-trib rapture. I don't believe Jesus' earthly ministry counts as part of the tribulation either. That wasn't what I was explaining. So I thought initially that what was being explained to me was that 3.5 years of the tribulation was already over because Jesus completed it with his 3.5-year ministry. But I was incorrect. We always assume the end of the fig tree generation is at Jesus' second coming, but what if it's not? If the fig tree is the nation of Israel, and we start to count when she's born, then the count ends when she, the nation itself, not the people in it, dies, right? Which could be considered the midpoint of the tribulation, at the abomination of desolation and the Jewish people fleeing into the wilderness, abandoning their nation, the very opposite of what happened just before 1948, when the Jewish people... when the Jewish people were coming back into the land. What an interesting email, guys. I'm just putting this out there for general consideration. I think it still points to right now, as Jessica suggested, but that is a very different way of looking at the start and the completion of the fig tree generation. Well done. Thank you, Jessica. This is all I was asking from my previous video, for people to comment and help with the explanations that we are trying to find. God bless. Thank you very much.